What's up, friends? Welcome to the Tim and April Show. I am Tim Whitaker.
I'm April Ajoy.
So good to be with you, and a special hello to our Lincoln Square Media audience. Welcome in. This is our third time going live on their Substack. They've been such an amazing partner to work with, as we are now streaming our show on YouTube on the Tim and April Show. Oh no.
No coughing.
Oh no, April. I'm sorry.
Rebuke
Down
that.
the wrong pipe. We're live. I can't edit this. We're live on the Tim and April Show on our YouTube channel, and now we're live on Substack in partnership with Lincoln Square. I'm Tim Whitaker, the founder of the New Evangelicals. That's the organization that produces this show. And April, my amazing co-host, is the author of an amazing book called Star Spangled Jesus, which is out now in hardcover. And is it called soft cover?
Paperback?
Paperback.
Yep. You got it.
Yeah,
Soft
there
cover.
we go. There we go. That it doesn't sound right for some reason. So we'll
It's
just
a
let that
squishy
slide.
book.
Yeah,
Like a stress reliever.
Squeak, squeak, squeak. Friends, if you're watching on YouTube, please do us a favor and give this stream a like. It helps get it into the YouTube algorithm. We read all the comments. I can see comments on both Substacks. So hello to all the Substack audience. And I can see comments on YouTube. I have 3 screens up. I am producing the show. I'm making scenes happen while talking with
screens.
April. So there's a lot going on, but it's great to be here. April, how are you doing? You hanging in? I mean, look, another day and no rapture. Wasn't there a rapture prediction recently?
There was. It was supposed to be the 6th, 7th, or 8th.
Yeah.
And today's the 9th. And no rapture.
Hey! We did it.
I did go and peek on a few of the people that were determined that if you missed our last talk about it, it was initially the September 23rd, 24th, and then the guy who made the initial prophecy, because he said Jesus appeared to him, was like, whoa, actually, Jesus went by the Julian calendar.
Right.
Which is on a 14-day delay. So really we're looking at October 7th or 8th. Some people said October 6th and 7th. I literally saw a video, and this guy was being for real. That was as another like evidence that it was going to be October 6th and 7th.
Stop.
He was like,
Don't do this.
6, 7.
Look, to our Substack audience, I don't know how many of you grew up like April and I as conservative evangelicals, but we were taught that at any moment we could be sucked up into the sky, naked, of course. Our clothes would be left behind. And it is, look, it's not like an elitist thing where we think that we're so smart and other people are so dumb. It's just such an absurd belief when you examine it that we have to laugh at people who are adults, like they are older than us, who are really preaching these narratives that they have predicted when Christ will return. And so far, they are for about 4,000 or more predictions.
Probably
given the
more
course
than
of,
that.
Yeah, probably. Maybe we'll say 10,000. Like their batting average is a big fat 0. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely 0. I saw a video that was like, you know what? I think you're allowed to predict the rapture one time. And if you get it wrong, you just gotta be done. You can't just predict it again. You've lost all credibility. I'll say too, I also laugh at it as someone who has actual trauma from believing in the rapture. Like, I think laughter is a form of medicine, and so it just makes the healing a little better too.
Well, you have to. Like, it really, I mean, when you really examine the claim, it's pretty freaking absurd, you know, like this idea that, hey, at any moment, God is gonna come back. So anyway, it's a thing.
It is definitely a thing. So a couple things we wanted to mention before we get into our main stories, which are the ICE raids, the government shutdown, and we have a doozy of a weird Christian bleep
We
for y'all
really do.
today.
We really do.
First of all, we'll read all super chats live as you send them in, and we wanted to talk about, there is a ceasefire that has been agreed on in Israel and Gaza today that's supposed to start going into effect Friday, so tomorrow, which, if this holds, is really good news. But it's also, it's hard to celebrate a ceasefire that should have happened. You know, it's been going on for almost 2 years now. October 7th was when the first initial terrible attack happened on Israel, and then the overwhelming response, genocide that's happened there in the meantime. But yeah, that's possibly good news.
Yeah, definitely. Look, a couple quick things. We have been talking about this on the New Evangelicals podcast. So just so the audience knows, we have 3 different shows that we do. We have Advocacy Hour, which is hosted by the New Evangelicals executive director and board president. And they interview people who are helping you find a better path forward and getting active in culture and thinking about just how to love your neighbor better. And then we have the Tim and April show. Then I host another podcast called the New Evangelicals Podcast. And that's more of like the deep dives, the scholars, etc. And we did a 4-part series on Israel, Palestine when everything first happened. And look, I was someone who was also learning and still am learning. But to be clear, April and I both know that this did not start on October 7th. It didn't happen in a vacuum. But the most recent atrocities have taken place since October 7th. Now, CNN is reporting this as like what seems to be a pretty mutually happy thing so far, which is good. But I will say, Cassidy, who's our producer behind the scenes, she kind of manages comments and helps pull things when needed in the moment. She made a good point before we started going live, and she said, it's kind of weird calling it a ceasefire when like one side's been doing all of the firing and the other side's just kind of been sitting there. And I do think, look, I do want to join you, April, and celebrate a ceasefire. I mean, we've been demanding it from our politicians for a long time, and better late than never. But I do think it is worth highlighting just the cataclysmic cost that this has taken on people. And so this is a really good series from Zeteo.com. So just a couple pieces of information so people know where we stand on the eve or on the heels of this ceasefire. 92% of homes have been destroyed in Gaza. And to give people context, Gaza is about the size of Philadelphia, my closest city. And so I imagine hearing that 92% of the homes in Philly have been destroyed. We have 55 million metric tons of rubble. $40 billion of U.S. arms sales to Israel since October 7th. That includes the Biden administration, by the way. We were very outspoken against this. I mean, huge problem for me, huge. 1.9 million displaced Palestinians. 518 schools damaged or destroyed. 7 U.S. vetoes of UN ceasefire resolutions, including many under the Biden administration. I want to be clear, this is not a MAGA exclusive here, okay? The Democratic Party has been complicit in this. And as Christians, we don't care what your affiliation is. If you're supporting or using our tax dollars to fund the bombing of children, it's a major problem. And then 99% of households are food insecure. 270 journalists have been killed. That is a wild stat in the past 2 years. 790 attacks on doctors and healthcare facilities. 67,000 confirmed deaths in 2 years. 186,000 estimated number of deaths that are direct and indirect, meaning if you're bombing healthcare infrastructure and people can't get access to medical care and they die from that, that's an indirect death.
And also probably starvation too.
And starvation, absolutely. And then we're kind of back to the carousel here, back to the top. So I want to be just really clear about that. I am happy, I am thrilled that we have a ceasefire hopefully in place for real. But my gosh, I mean, it has come at an immense cost. And look, Israel has not been known to hold and to agree to actual ceasefires. And again, it's not about the Jews. It's about the nation state of Israel. And I have to say that because, April, you and I know that in this climate, there's a right-wing push to really kind of insert themselves into this situation. But a lot of them, like your Candace Owens types, are incredibly anti-Semitic, period. And this is not about that. We are not people who advocate for the conspiracy that the Jews control the media or the banks. That's not what we're doing here. At the same time, we're going to call out injustice wherever we see it. So I just want to be really emphatically clear, especially for our new audience, of what they're walking into, right? We are Christians. We follow the way of Jesus. And it's not too much to ask for any nation, especially one that we are funding, to stop bombing kids and to stop, tearing off their limbs and to stop bombing healthcare infrastructure and libraries and churches and killing journalists. This is a very appropriate thing to ask for. Also, you're muted, April. I'm not sure what happened here, but you are muted.
Yeah, it's because I accidentally muted myself. That's what happened here. Yeah. I was just agreeing.
I was like, wow, you're real quiet.
Yeah. I took the words right out of my mouth. So, cool. Yeah, well, hopefully the ceasefire sticks. So we will keep tracking that. Certain people, Israel doesn't have the best track record of keeping ceasefire. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Our first main story.
Wait, Robert Morris. We have to mention that briefly.
I know. I was thinking we could. Okay, yeah, we'll just mention that too.
We can do it later. Want to do it later?
Well, you brought it up now, so I might as well just do it.
But
another quick
it's a
thing.
tease. Now we're teasing the audience.
That's true. Well, I thought because we're going to bring up Epstein later, and that's a good tie-in.
Okay,
I literally thought about it as you were saying it. And I was like, oh, that's better.
We'll get to that later
on. Guys,
let's
we're doing this live.
Yeah, live with coffee in our hands.
Actually, I have a sparkling water today. Yeah.
So eclectic of you.
Ice. Speaking of iced coffee, that's terrible. We weren't talking about that. Okay. If you've seen, ICE is in all the news right now because they are just terrorizing American citizens.
It's unreal.
In Chicago and in Portland especially right now.
Yep.
But before we get to that, Donald Trump, the Trump administration recently put out an executive order where they declared Antifa a terrorist organization. And then this week they held at what they called an Antifa roundtable. They did a whole press conference called the Antifa roundtable. It's funny because there's
I'm sorry. If I don't laugh, I'll cry.
No, I know, because there's really no Antifa. Antifa, to be clear, stands for anti-fascist. Right. There was an organization and movements called Antifa that started in the 1920s and 30s in Europe. They were fighting fascism in Europe. There's been variations, small pockets of people that have identified as Antifa. There was a group in the 80s. There was a smaller, what were they called? I had it pulled up, but I lost it. Of course I lost it. There was a group called Rose City Antifa that was formed in 2007 in Portland, but they were a small group and they literally just fought neo-Nazi. They didn't even fight.
Wow.
They went and protested neo-Nazi rallies.
They sound real radical. They sound like terrorists. They
were full of women and queer people, and from my brief reading up of them, they weren't violent. They protested neo-Nazis, okay? Because that's what Antifa just means, anti-fascist. Okay, and it is a little interesting that a government that is very commonly accused of being fascist because they do fascist things are now demonizing people who call themselves anti-fascist.
Gee, it's almost like they have a real incentive to label people who oppose them as the exact thing that they are to immigrants and other citizens in America who they don't like.
Yeah, they've kind of made Antifa just this big boogeyman in the GOP that doesn't actually exist, but it's just an easy scapegoat. They just can classify anyone they don't like as Antifa.
We do have to give credit where credit is due. The MAGA right-wing media world is really good at creating boogeymen. I mean, they're really effective at it. Remember a few years ago, everyone was freaking out about CRT, critical race theory? It's going to make your kids become racist and teach the white kids that they're always the oppressor. Just the most wildest, craziest claims you ever did hear. And then from there, that went away. And then it was DEI. And then it was, trans women in sports. There's always something or someone to be afraid of. There's always some boogeyman out there. And they're kind of on rotation. It's only a matter of time before something that is a dog whistle for racism comes back in. It's some new term that we'll be talking about in a few months. But right now, it's Antifa. Then they'll cycle out. Then they'll come back in. So, yeah, I mean, this
do you remember on January 6th when the insurrection, first started happening? I saw so many MAGA people that said it was Antifa.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretending to be MAGA.
Of course.
To break into the Capitol to make MAGA look bad.
Well, April, it's ridiculous to think that MAGA people would get violent. I mean, yeah, maybe the KKK endorsed Trump, and maybe David Duke, former Grand Wizard, thought that Tucker Carlson's segment on the Great Replacement Theory on Fox was a great idea and so good. But let's be really clear, I mean, MAGA, they're not of a violent type. Of course not. Yeah. It's Antifa. It's the people in costumes It's the people who holding umbrellas. They're the violent ones. And April, we know, just like how Turning Point USA has a headquarters and raises millions of dollars and had a main hero person that was Charlie Kirk, doing all of these things in the name of Turning Point USA. Antifa has that too. I mean, I'm sure you know the name of the person who is the founder of Antifa, who's touring college campuses. I don't want to say his name and give it away, but we all know who it is.
Can I tell you something funny? So in 2020, I lived in Cleveland, Tennessee at the time. And so I went to this is not an exaggeration, we had nightly Black Lives Matter protests because that was in the wake of George Floyd's murder. And so I went multiple times a week for that whole summer. Okay. And they had counter protesters and they started writing these opinion pieces in the local newspaper about how we were all Antifa. And they singled out one guy who was one of the local conservative Christian college professor's son. But he had long hair and wore a bandana. And we all wore masks at the time because it was a pandemic, right? So you couldn't really see our faces. But they pinpointed this guy because he was tall and he had long hair and he wore black most of the time. And they out of nowhere, just pulled it out of their butts that he was our Antifa leader. And they literally called him an Antifa super soldier. And there was one lady, there was a lady who went Facebook Live because they were counter protesting us, and they shouted at us the whole time. We were intentionally a silent demonstration because we knew anything we did, they would twist to make it seem like we were violent. But she was filming one time and zoomed in, and I was standing next to him. Zoomed in on him, and she was like, there he is. This was Tennessee, so they all have very thick Southern accents. Sure. She was like, there he is. He's the leader of this Antifa group. She pronounced it like Aunt Tifa. So we were like, who's Aunt Tifa? It was kind of an inside joke. But anyway, they literally just make stuff up. According to everyone in Cleveland, Tennessee, I was a member of Antifa, despite not being a member of Antifa.
I mean, yeah, and then ignore the insurrection, ignore the Trump flags, ignore the appeal to heaven flags, and ignore the Christian flag, ignore the prayer to Jesus. We do not talk about that enough. There was a group of men in the Senate chambers who said, Jesus Christ, we invoke your name. Amen. And then they gave a 1.5 minute long prayer thanking Jesus for the opportunity to storm our Capitol building. But those aren't the terrorists. It's Antifa. It's the same thing like when they say that's woke or the left. What are they talking about? And listen, I think this is intentional. This is really important for the audience to understand. Fascism relies on terms that are vaguely defined because they want their audience to insert the version of the boogeyman they have in their head and associate it with that word. So when I think of Antifa, right, I think about some person in their mid-20s dressed in all black with an umbrella. But when a Fox News watcher thinks of Antifa, they might think of something completely different. And that is by design, because the truth doesn't matter. In Christian nationalism, truth is always subservient to power and propaganda. And so we have to laugh at this because they're so obviously disingenuous and they're so ignorant, but it's all by design.
Yep. So we wanted to watch. There's this video of Kristi Noem from this Antifa roundtable. Just play it.
Hold on. We did get a super chat. I do want to read this. So thank you so much. We do read all super chats on the air. All super chats go to supporting this work and making this show possible. Okay, so Seraphim Tofu says, Happy Thursday. This is unrelated, but I've wondered for a while about how Tim and April pronounce Jesus, like Jesus, emphasizing both syllables. I was raised atheist, so is there something I'm missing? Sorry to derail. No problem at all. I just say Jesus. I don't really think about it.
Is there another way to say Jesus? I mean, I know in Spanish it's Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
But Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just say it how everyone else around me said it.
It's a great question.
And if you really are praying, you'd be like, Jesus.
Well, if you're charismatic, you can get real into it. And then also Destiny the Grunge Girl, thank you so much. Hi guys. Hey Tim, you should try blueberry bagels. I will try that. We have a great bagel shop because I live in New Jersey. Where we get legitimately good bagels. I do. So we'll give that a shot. All right, let's watch this video of Kristi Noem and Yeah, let's hear all about this Antifa terrorist threat that's just taking over suburbia.
We arrested recently in Portland was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa, and that we are hoping that as we go after her, interview her, and prosecute her, we will get more and more information about the network and how we can root them out and eliminate them from the existence of American society.
Pause
I
for a
want to
second.
thank the new journalists.
Paused.
Before she gets to her next thing. Just a reminder that Antifa was initially founded in the 20s and 30s. So how old is this girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa? She's like 100 years old?
Yeah.
Well, if she was the girlfriend then, she's probably at least 20, so 120. Wow.
Wow. Look, it
It's
pays to be
impressive.
anti-fascist. I mean, look, you can live to be so long. I bet
she
she's
came from Europe to America.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I bet she's rich, I bet she runs an organization. Listen, I bet Antifa has tens of millions of dollars in the bank. They're a very organized and very public-facing organization.
Right. One of the girlfriends of the founders. Like, what is she talking about?
Who is this? There we go.
Here today for telling their stories and for being able and willing to go to the streets and to cover what's happening here in America. Many times the legacy media has looked the other way, refused to tell the stories. The networks have not really focused on what this is and what damage it is doing to our country, and how this network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them.
Well, I'm sorry. Okay, first off, the journalists that she's referring to in this wide shot, these are all right-wing, just influencers. One of them is Andy No, incredibly disingenuous for so many reasons. We don't have time to go into all of that, but these are not actual journalists who have gone to school to learn, journalism 101. That's not what this is. This is right-wing influencers who have every incentive to puppet the propaganda of the regime. But literally, I'm sorry, April, we got a great comment on Substack. Patrick says, those idiots, it's a round table, and the table isn't even round.
It's not. That is a 90-degree angled great large table.
I'm dying. Okay, I had to point that out. Great, Patrick, that is a great call out, because you're right. It's not even a real round table. Anyway.
You know what, though? Trump would be this is a round table, and all of his supporters would be like, it is a round table. What are you talking about?
Yeah, if you look at it from this angle and you do math this way, it's a full 360, But look, to say that Antifa is as sophisticated as ISIS, I mean, the American people, they can't, and I don't mean this in a dehumanizing way, but they cannot be that stupid. They just can't. They just cannot. They cannot be that stupid to really think that what Christy said is coherent, is logical, is truthful. Unbelievable.
There are no Antifa leaders. It's not organized intentionally. I don't know how to explain it to people other than it's just not a thing. They're just making stuff up. Also, I want to point out too, Trump appointed FBI Director Christopher Wray from his first term in 2020, because Trump also brought up Antifa in 2020, and they were saying they were the reasons there were all these Black Lives Matter protests everywhere. But in 2020, Christopher Wray said that Antifa is an ideology, not an organization.
Oh. Yeah, I had that actually. Let me pull that up for you.
And this is a Trump-appointed FBI director.
Yeah.
In 2020. Came out and said it's not actually an organization. It's more an ideology.
Right. This isn't some left-wing Marxist liberal. This is a Trump person. So again, though, but does truth matter, April? I think you and I are almost too gracious where we assume that if we could just tell people the truth, especially MAGA people, they'll go, oh, I'm sorry, I was misinformed. I'll change my mind. And that's just not how it works in this space. It does not work that way. However, I do feel especially in the age where propaganda is only growing, all the more for us to double, triple, quadruple down on telling the truth every single day on the show, and be willing to correct ourselves when we get something wrong. We're never going to be 100%, right? We're going to be misinformed on something. We're going to read the wrong headline. We want to be accountable to that. But we have to be loud, and not let these people change, like, or not make it acceptable just to lie from your chair as a Trump official, and for us to go, well, that's just MAGA being MAGA. No, these are liars. They are lying to you, and we have to be clear about that.
Yeah, you know what? We do have some clips of these radical.
You're right.
These radical Antifa members, allegedly, from Portland. Do you want to pull up how vicious?
Yeah. I just trigger warning.
Antifa members are.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of correction, I forgot we had this clip. So I just, if you have kids in the room, maybe close their eyes. This is real intense. I'm just gonna play this out. I'm only gonna play a few seconds because if not, we'll get flagged for the audio on YouTube. But here's live footage. Antifa takeover, Portland. Here we go.
Standoff with ICE.
There you go, friends. We're still playing the video, but if you're watching on podcast or listening on podcast, it is a group of people, many of which are in costumes. I think is that the dinosaur from the Rugrats movie?
Rugrats?
Yeah,
it does kind of look like it.
Yeah, and there's like a unicorn dancing around.
Unicorn
and there's a
raccoon.
Yeah,
and maybe a bear.
Yes. Yep.
Did you did you see the video of the there's also like an anti-fascist frog that got pepper sprayed.
Yes. I don't have it. I don't have the clip, but I've seen that clip. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there was also an image of there's people that have tea parties. They just set up little tables and dress very Victorian and sit and sip tea in front of ICE, like just reading a little book.
Do you know how you know they're lying? Because if there was real footage of a well-oiled Antifa regime that was violent, the footage would be all over the place. You don't think the Trump administration would play it 24/7? You don't think Fox News would just play the terabytes of footage out there of this widespread Antifa, what they're calling is a terrorist organization, inflicting violence on ICE agents, on civilians? The reason why you don't see it is because it doesn't really exist. Now, that being said, of course, in a country of 300 million Americans, you're going to have people who get violent. That's going to happen, okay? But to blame it on Antifa or on like a well-organized, intentional thing is so disingenuous.
Can I tell you, so from that same Christy Noem said the reason, basically was saying like the reason why we're not seeing these terrorist attacks. This wasn't in this video. This is a quote for NBC. They just quoted her. She says, "I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor there in town. And they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets." She said during the roundtable about Antifa. These leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on. They're helping Antifa cover it up. Like, here's my question. If Antifa is actually destroying these towns and committing terrorism, why would the governor and the mayor cover that up? Like, if that's actually happening, they would welcome the National Guard and the federal help. They're just lying.
Look, I'm quite progressive. Some might even call me a leftist, right? If I was the mayor of Portland and I saw a vigilante group going around town and inflicting violence on citizens, I would want all the help I can get. And you're looking at a leftist. I'd be like, hey, we got to figure this out, right? This is not good. So obviously, what mayor, what governor wants more violence in their streets? Well, maybe Trump does, but you're absolutely right. It's a great point. Also, we did get a super chat. I feel like I should read it really quick. Thank you so much, Stevie the Clown. Grew up in Portland. Oh, great. Was there during the protests at Justice Center. It was always police, ICE that started the violence. Grateful I've moved to the Oregon coast. Thank you for the super chat. If I could just add to that briefly, I'm not sure if you know this, April. I'm sure you do. But you know that a big talking point, obviously, with this MAGA group is, well, the summer of love, Black Lives Matter, it was so violent. They were literally burning cities down. Okay, well, if you look at the actual data, like the actual studies, Studies show that the Black Lives Matter protests, which, by the way, were, I think, the largest national protests ever to happen in America, like tens of millions of people all across the nation, decentralized, but all doing the same thing. 95% of all protests they found were peaceful. Okay, 90, like it's in the 90s, maybe it's 91. And they also found that the majority of the violence was started by either counter-protesters or the police. And the people who did commit violent acts were found and prosecuted. So this narrative of like Black Lives Matter was so violent is actually ridiculous. Now you compare that to the January 6th insurrection. There was one insurrection with a couple thousand people and it was violent. That's 100%. It was 100% violent. So it's just very frustrating hearing the propaganda and the lies and how they use certain situations to derail from the truth of who's actually driving the violence. We know that right-wing violence in the past 30 years is overwhelmingly more consistent than it is on the left. Now, again, that doesn't mean that left-wing acts of violence don't happen. Certainly we condemn those things. We're always going to say that. But like if you look at the actual data over the past 30 years, the graph, it's almost comical, right? So it's very frustrating to watch this happen in real time.
Well, yeah, and I've been on the receiving end of being accused of being violent when I was not. Like I went to these Black Lives Matter protests with my 60-year-old mom. And like half the protest, like every hour we would kneel for, 9 minutes and 11 seconds, whatever the time was that that cop had his knee on George Floyd's neck. We would kneel in silence and pray. And the other people still said that there was literally an article and a county commissioner, a former county commissioner, like elected officials were saying that we wanted to kill everyone in Cleveland. Like, to be on the receiving end of such a absurd lie, like it's really wild to just be like like they're just pulling it out of their butts. They're making stuff up.
I'm just thinking about your mother, who is a total gem, picking up like a brick, just yelling, like, just throwing a brick like through a window, like you're like, okay, your mother, the violent ones, clearly, join me, comrades, we can overthrow,
I know. Well, and I do think every accusation is a confession, because 100%. Now we're going to show you clips coming out of Chicago of ICE actually being violent.
Yes.
We didn't talk about this on the live last week, but they rappelled out of helicopters onto a building, pulled everyone out of their apartments in the middle of the night, zip-tied children, some of whom were naked, pulled them out of their beds for no reason. They claimed that everyone in the building was an illegal immigrant.
Yep. I mean, this is actually a great maybe point to bring this up, but we need to realize how one of the tools of empire is to say that violence is bad and wrong. But what they're actually saying is whenever violence is used against us, it's wrong, but we can use violence whenever we want. And Christian nationalists are totally fine with this, by the way. Like, Christian nationalists are going to utilize the power of empire to inflict violence on their neighbors whenever they see fit. But they also are then going to decry any kind of uprising or rebellion that might have violence as a part of it, right? And that will be the justification for the state to then enact more violence. And look, I am someone, and I know you are too, April. We're still kind of coming out of like our evangelical fundamentalism, right? We're still learning to decolonize and learning how to see things differently. And I still forget that, like, when I see an agent or an ICE agent brutally trying to arrest a protester or assaulting them, if it was reversed, if it was an Antifa person in all black beating up on an ICE agent, we all be outraged. Hey, there's no place for violence here. I would probably say that myself. But because it's the opposite, I'm just so desensitized. I'm like, oh, well, they're the law enforcement, so I guess it's okay. But no, it's not okay. It's not okay for our government to be sending in a politicized military, overriding people's constitutional rights and using violence, right? These are peaceful protesters. We have videos of this. I mean, I think one of the most damning clips that we should play is this one, and we're going to get into the details in a second here. But this I think is really telling. And this is why you and I cover Christian nationalism, because you and I have been beating the drum for so long that Christian nationalism is not just about Christianity. It's about a very specific stream of what we call as like Christian supremacy, right? It's this white evangelicalism that believes anything, including other Christians outside of its walls, are heretical, are false, and should be treated as such, right? So this is, this.
And
okay.
I want to, so this is Reverend David Black.
Today.
No, you're fine. He's a Presbyterian minister. You're fine. And he was interviewed after this. So you're about to see ICE shoots. He's unarmed. They're going to shoot a pepper ball to his head. He was interviewed after, and I want to tell you what he's saying in this clip because you can't hear it. He's looking up to the top of this building where these ICE agents are standing, and this is in front of an ICE facility. He has his arms spread wide, and he says that what he said, I invited them to repentance. I basically offered an altar call. I invited them to come and receive that salvation and be part of the kingdom that's coming. And they said that one of the things that they would chant in this protest was love your neighbor, love your God, save your soul, quit your job.
Woo! Sorry, that one got me. I mean, yes, Jesus, like.
So you could argue that this minister is actually living out the teachings of Jesus right here. He's actually speaking. He is speaking Christ's love to people, to ICE agents who are inflicting so much harm on this city. He's up there talking to them, pleading to them to have empathy for their neighbors. And you'll watch. This is what ICE does.
So for the podcast audience, I'm sure you've seen the clip, but these are peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment to protest. They're not inciting violence. And this pastor has his hands out, chanting what you said, April. And the response by these agents is to shoot him in the head with a pepper ball. And like, honestly, it just really, when I get angry or frustrated, I tend to tear up more than like yell because it's just how I function. But it makes me so angry. I don't know what to do, but except to cry, because it's just really bizarre being conditioned your whole life to expect Christian persecution, right? And to expect that there's this world and this government that hates you. And if anyone's going to use that kind of rhetoric and apply it, this pastor can do that. He was standing up for his marginalized neighbor, protesting an ICE agency, doing what Christ would be doing. And he was shot by the government for doing that. That for his beliefs. I mean, that would be Christian persecution, in my opinion. But the world of white evangelicalism that taught me to look out for that has nothing to say to this. Someone in the chat brought up, where's Frank Turek or Lisa Childers? Now, for those of you who don't know, they are two evangelical apologists. In fact, I just did a long response to their video on Charlie Kirk's funeral. It's on the new Evangelicals YouTube channel. You can watch it. But that's exactly right. I've been asking myself the same question. Where are all of these Christians with the persecution kink? Because this government that they voted for is attacking Christians for doing Christ-like things, nonviolent, peaceful protests, inviting these agents into a better way of being. April, you and I have been doing this show for a while. How often have I said that? That I'm all about repentance and inviting people into a better way of being. He's doing that, and he gets shot in the head for it. Wow.
He said, too, in that same interview, that after they shot him, you can hear they're shooting more people in the crowd with pepper balls, which are non-lethal, but those still hurt, especially if you're getting like from that distance. But he said that they could hear the agents laughing.
I believe it. Well, you have to be pretty soulless to have the job of an ICE agent in America right now, where you're, or you have to be racist or hateful. I mean, what other way? Anyone with empathy would think, I can't do this. You want me just to smash car windows in with children in the back, to rip people away from their immigrant hearing or from their immigration hearings? You want me to shoot clergy in the head with pepper bullets? So what's left but the most, vicious, dehumanizing people that would do that? And there is a response I wanted to highlight here, because I think that sometimes, April, people think that you and I are hyperbolic or we exaggerate claims when we say that Christian nationalists actually don't give a shit about Christians. They care mostly about white conservative Christianity. I think people think, no, Tim, I think you're a little extreme there. Well, we're really not, because this is William Wolf. This is a man, by the way, who has been part of the Trump regime in the first term. He was recently at the White House praying over President Trump. And William Wolf said, in Trump's America, you can just pepper spray heretical pastors now. And it's the same pastor that got shot in the head who protested ICE, but it's a picture of him getting bear sprayed or pepper sprayed in the face. This is a Christian. William Wolf claims to be a born-again Christian. These Christian nationalists do not care about anyone except for who they think is their tribe. And that doesn't fall along theological lines. That's why atheists like James Lindsay are welcome into the fold. That's even why William Wolf, who, by the way, thinks that women can't be leaders and pastors and that it's heretical, will pray alongside Paul the White over Trump. Because it's not really about the theological conviction or even the idea of Christianity. It's about their small-minded, narrow tribe that is hell-bent on power and control. That's why they don't care that the data says most of the immigrants being targeted by this administration are indeed Christian, right? Because it's not about that.
Well, and he's not the only minister that is being attacked. There is another Reverend Hannah Cardin. She's a United Methodist pastor. She said that she was also at the protests in Chicago and that she had been shot multiple times with pepper bullets, including while she was praying with her eyes closed and hands lifted. And she was wearing a clerical collar and stole, like clearly a minister, still shooting someone praying. And you have MAGA that they'll scream Christian persecution if they get called a bigot. They scream Christian persecution if there's a gay person in a Netflix show. They scream Christian persecution if you dare say something bad against their great leader, Donald Trump. But when actual ministers who are standing up for the marginalized, as Jesus called us to do, are getting shot with bullets while they're praying, they say nothing.
Yep.
It is so infuriating because I don't know what it's going to take for them to choose the red letters over their stupid red hats.
Yep. That's why I've started using more Christ-like language and calling them sons of hell and whitewashed tombs and broods of vipers, because they are. Like it hit me the other day, and I want to be careful with how I say this, April. It's kind of a new thought. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in loving one's enemies, 100%. And also, Jesus never really extended or even offered forgiveness to the religious elite because they didn't really want it. They were too busy in their piety. Now, I'm not saying that personally for me, I hate my enemies. I love them. I want them to repent. But if they won't repent and they're going to harm my marginalized neighbors, I'm going to use the words that Jesus used to describe people like them. That's the bottom line. They are sons of hell. I'm sorry. They are whitewashed tombs. They swallow, they are people who levy unhealthy burdens on their congregants that cause so much damage. I'm at a point, I think, in my journey with this where I want to be very careful and not dehumanize my enemies. I think that's a core value for me. And also, I have to stop sugarcoating the reality. I have to stop trying to play footsies with people who want to see my immigrant neighbor thrown into a concentration camp, disappeared by this freaking government, and then say nothing about injustice. Meanwhile, their social media feed is all mad because Bad Bunny got picked to perform in the Super Bowl halftime show, and Chip and Joanna Gaines had a gay couple on their show. Are you guys? If you think that's where your outrage should be as a Christian, we worship different gods. We follow different Christs. And guess what? I can defend the one I follow with the red letters. You cannot. And I think that I'm at a point in my journey where I'm like, I have no more patience for people who at this point look around in society and see everything that's happened in less than a year into this regime's rule. The Nazi salute from Elon Musk, right? The defunding of USAID. Remember Doge, April? Remember when Doge was a thing? Stripping the government from from food that was going to starving children? That feels like it was a lifetime ago. That was like 5 or 6 months ago. And we can go down the list. If you look around at this regime and you go, things are great, we're so back, I have nothing to say to you. Besides, we're on opposite sides, my friend. And one side wants liberation for all of their neighbors, even their MAGA neighbors. And the other one thinks that using state-sanctioned violence and weaponizing the military and sending it into cities that they don't like is somehow a godly, biblical perspective. Last thing, briefly, someone in the Substack chat, Karen, good question, Karen, asked, what are red letters? Thank you for asking me that. April and I sometimes speak the Christianese language because we're still Christian and grew up that way. When we say the red letters, we're referring to, in some Bibles, the words of Jesus are highlighted in red. So when we say the red letters, we're talking about the words that Jesus actually said in the 4 gospel accounts. That's all that means. And I honestly, friends, if we say things that you're like, I don't know what that means, please put it in the chat so we can explain, because April and I take that stuff for granted sometimes. We are
fluent in Christianese and Evangelicalese, and sometimes we forget that not everybody knows that language.
Yeah, so apologies.
So, do we want to show a few of the more positive things happening in Chicago of just like the people that are standing up, and then we'll move on? We're a little behind, but what's new?
What's new? Let me just read. We got 2 more super chats. Again, thank you so much, friend. All super chats go right to making this show possible. If you're watching this stream right now and you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Please give this stream a like. It helps get it out to more people, and make sure you sub to the channel. We are, I think, 100 people away from 10,000 subs, which is so exciting. If you're watching on Substack, please feel free to restack this live and to follow me and April at Tim Whitaker Speaks, at April Ajoy, and you can follow the New Evangelicals as well at the New Evangelicals on Substack. So, okay, super chat number 1, Kelly, love you and your show. How are we feeling about the No Kings protests on 10/18? Will we be safe? I think overall you probably will be, but you just never know. I think that's.
I would say this would not be one just with the climate. I would not bring my kids.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's good.
That's what I would say. Just
really
me
good.
Personally, but you know.
Can you read these? Can you see this?
Yeah, I can read them. Let's see. We have one from Joseph Compton. Says, this act shows the real face of Christian nationalism. This shows their fraudulent faith. Anyone who doesn't agree with them is a heretic. Thank you, Joseph, for the super chat.
And last one from Stevie
Stevie Clown 2000. I read about some white Christians think the Beatitudes are woke ideology. Red letters matter. You're not wrong. There are people that are considering Jesus too sissy now to follow. So that's fun.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh wait. Really? We have so many clips. Do you want to play this one of the protester who recorded the clergy, the pastor getting attacked, or just we can skip it for now?
I think we probably just need to move to the.
You're right.
We have a video of the mayor, and then these are shorter clips, I think. But to Chicago's credit, they are. I'm actually so proud of the citizens and even the police. Like, there are policemen that are standing with the citizens of Chicago against ICE.
I love that.
Who would have thought that we'd be, cheering for cops in 2025?
Hey man, you do what you got to do. You just do what you got to do. So, just for the podcast audience, some of these clips are kind of noisy, but this first one is a group of peaceful protesters pushing back ICE agents. I love that. That's a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people.
And it goes a long time.
Yeah, I'll play it without the audio. Yeah, I mean, it's rolling over there for sure. And yeah, and you can see ICE agents kind of moving out of the way. It's like an overhead shot, so it's powerful. Mm-hmm. I love seeing this. Like, this is the way you resist fascism. You have to work with your communities to do what you got to do to get people like these folks out of here. This other
they're
clip,
peaceful. These people are they're standing up for what's right through peaceful means, despite what the Trump administration is saying. The violence is coming from the ICE agents.
Exactly. Now, this one is a great clip. I mean, I got to say, this is brilliant. I'm going to lower the audio because it's very noisy. But the caption is, people are following ICE in their cars to warn Chicagoans. So this is true. Check this out.
So they are just following ICE vehicles and honking and yelling to warn people that ICE is coming.
I love it. Like you know, resistance can get creative, and it is really encouraging to see people in their beat up cars. Which, by the way, I own a very beat up car, and just honking. A guy is standing out of the sunroof on one of them. This guy right here, and he's just like he's letting people know, hey, this is happening. Yes, absolutely, and we're gonna share this on a future. I think next Thursday we have a pre-record because I'll be out of town, but we're going to be sharing some of the other faith leaders in Chicago who are working to resist ICE and fascism from a Christian perspective, which I think will give a lot of Christians out there a ton of hope, which is really great.
Yeah, and I just had a brain toot. I was in Sunday school.
Your brain just tooted.
No, I had a point, and it literally, as I started talking, it was like, "Nah, we're gonna forget what you're gonna say." That's fun. I still have mom brain. Blame on that.
It's fair. I'm sorry, I'm chatty today, April. I'm feeling it today. So I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just so fired up.
Yeah,
so I apologize. If a little chatty.
No, you're fine. But I do love what Chicago is doing in coming together. Like that's actually community and standing up for good. Hi, Melinda.
Yes. Melinda, our executive director of the New Evangelicals, hopping in. Good to see you as always. Oh my goodness.
Do you want to play the video from the Chicago mayor?
Did I grab? I know I grabbed that. Hold on. Yeah. And then from there we'll go to a short break.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Okay, last one, promise, and we'll get to we'll move quick in our next segment.
Yeah, sure we will. Sure. Okay. Here we go. This is the Chicago mayor talking about ICE in Chicago.
If Congress will not check this administration, then Chicago will. Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids. Our school parking lots are not for ICE to load their weapons. They are for Chicagoans who drop their kids off to learn. Our libraries are not for ICE to prepare for a raid. They're for Chicagoans to read and relax. Our parks are not for ICE to set up checkpoints. They are for Chicagoans to play and enjoy. Private establishments can partner with us to make it clear that private property is private property, and ICE cannot enter establishments without a valid warrant. Private entities may voluntarily choose to display signage to designate their property as part of a citywide network of community spaces that stand together in affirming the safety, dignity, and belonging of all of our residents. By extending this protection beyond city-owned land, the order builds a broad civic shield that limits the reach of harmful enforcement practices. It strengthens neighborhood solidarity, and it reaffirms Chicago's role as a welcoming city.
Hell yeah.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Oh my God.
And just imagine just the optics too of the mayor, the governor of Illinois, the citizens, the cops. All are at odds against these federal ICE agents. They're not welcome there. They don't want them there. Yep. And I also think I don't know if you've seen the ads of the recruitment ads to get people to join ICE.
I've seen a few.
There are ads out there, and I can't imagine morale is high. When you are hated so much by so many people. I mean, they wear masks.
Public
for
shame
a reason.
is good. Public shame can be a very effective tool, and this is one of the times to use it.
Especially when you're doing shameful things.
Yes.
But cops for one hand, and there's been plenty of problems with behavior from police that we've addressed plenty of times, with police brutality. That is definitely a thing. But to be a police officer, you do go through de-escalation training, and you have the police academy, and you're actually trained. These ICE agents, I don't know what their training is, but it can't be much because they're hiring them so fast and then just putting them out in the field. And you can tell they're not trained.
Yeah,
the way that they interact. Yes, you can tell they have no idea what they're doing.
First off, this video, friends, I'm not going to play the whole thing. It starts off terrible. It ends great. These two men come out to try and abduct this, what is assumed to be an immigrant. And you got a man here. Where's the picture of him? Where is he? He is literally in a T-shirt with a New York Yankees hat on. Look at this. You're telling me this guy's trained?
Yeah, they're in unmarked vehicles. Some of them are not even wearing ICE badges or ICE uniforms, and they're not identifying themselves, which is just giving credence for just anyone to go and kidnap anyone.
I mean, this is like Rent-A-Cop. It's just Rent-A-Cop. It's wild. And by the way, good news. This person, the community fought off ICE agents nonviolently, and they backed off and left him alone and got back in their unmarked car and took a hike. So, the good news is important, April, right? Like, part of how you resist Christian fascism is you find moments of joy, you find moments to resist, you don't let them get in your head and think that it's hopeless. And it's important that we share anything we can that shows people in government, it shows citizens, it shows police officers working together, right, to push back a blatantly racist and authoritarian power grab that is targeting the most marginalized among us. Undocumented immigrants have no protections. They pay into the system. They can't get healthcare benefits, as we're going to cover in a minute, unlike what the Republicans say. Yeah. They are people who have no option to go super public because they're not here and documented. So to see ICE targeting those people is so, especially in the name of God, right? This regime was elected in the name of God. It should send a chill down our spine. You wonder in history how countries get real wild and real evil and real dehumanizing, and how they start rounding people up and shipping them off to different places that no one knows about. You wonder how that happens. Yeah. Take a look around.
And they're offering an up to a $50,000 sign-on bonus.
Don't I know it?
I know. It's crazy what they're doing.
We can't get affordable health care, and if you have a child, April, there's no money for you. But if you want to arrest and abduct and kidnap immigrants, we'll give you $50,000 just to sign on.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we talked about in the Big Beautiful Bill, if I'm remembering correctly, they have more money in the budget for ICE than police for federal funds.
Not surprised. Should we go to a break?
Yeah.
Let's take a 2-minute break. You can hear more about the New Evangelicals and what we offer as an organization. We'll come back soon. Friends, thank you so much for being here. Give the video a like if you're watching on YouTube. I can see all the chats on Substack and on YouTube. We would love your feedback, especially to our Substack audience. You guys are brand new to the Tim and April, I don't know, community, space, network. I don't know. Well, no, it's the New Evangelicals network. So, all right. See you in a minute.
New Evangelical started out as an Instagram post, and 5 years later, it's turned into a nonprofit organization committed to creating a better path forward.
We have educational content, digital media, and a really inclusive online community space. And we're really trying to help people reclaim and hold on to their faith without sacrificing any of their values.
I was looking for people who were sharing stories and being authentic as they worked through their faith in this current context.
In a world that continues to use Christ as a weapon against the marginalized, the New Evangelicals creates a space where all are welcomed and loved as and because of who they are. There's nothing more Christ-like than that.
I think the time we're in really allows TNE to show up in a way we haven't really seen before. And being an organization that talks about the intersection of faith, politics, and culture, we're really trying to build a justice-centered movement.
We really had to ask, what if faith could be different? What if it wasn't about fear and control and shame, but was truly about love, justice, and compassion? And our mission is really simple. We want to empower people to reject Christian nationalism, advocate for their neighbors, and stay rooted in the things that Jesus taught.
I love that TNE celebrates curiosity.
Man, the gospel is needed now more than ever. The New Evangelicals is doing the work of spreading that gospel. And I'm so proud to be a part of the New Evangelicals doing this work.
We envision a world where Christianity isn't used as a tool for power and exclusion, but it's reclaimed as a force for good, for empathy and collective liberation and inclusivity.
Thousands of people have found us, whether it's on our Instagram or YouTube or podcast, and they've had their journey and their feelings validated. And honestly, I'm really proud of that. We're really proud of that.
This is TNE, and we're just getting started.
All right, we're back.
Hello. We're back.
Also, can I make a huge breaking news announcement that I can finally say?
Sure.
Well, many of us watch those Jubilee Surrounded videos.
Mm.
And they just dropped, they just dropped the trailer for one that's happening on Sunday. And
they just dropped a trailer like right now?
They did. I just saw it on my phone. And yours truly is in it. Should we play it real quick as like a fun thing?
Are you in the trailer? Yeah.
I am. I haven't watched it at all, so I have no clue what it looks like.
Oh, okay. Are you going to get dinged for this?
I don't know. Hopefully not.
Like copyright, not dinged.
I doubt it. I'll play it right through Instagram here. But yeah, I just saw it come up. So this is fresh, friends. This is fresh.
Woo.
I'm a little nervous because the person I debated, I've had beef with before. And so here we go. Let's see if this will play. Oh, wait. I got to change the output real quick. Give me a second, friends. Hopefully this plays nice.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I have like conflicting feelings about Jubilee.
Me too. And we're going to be doing a live on this, but okay, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Gay people are supposed to be celibate.
I think that we are all called to deny what the Bible calls sin.
I don't believe it's a sin to be gay.
The Bible does condone slavery.
That does not mean that I agree with instituting slavery.
You are very good at this because you keep moving the goalposts, okay?
How am I moving the goalposts?
The claim you made was that the Bible does not condone slavery.
And around about slavery.
I'm not gonna let it go.
What we're suffering from right now on the right and on the left is a massive lack of empathy for each other. We're being fed algorithms that show each other these crazy versions of the other side, and we don't look each other in the eyes and feel for one another.
My first claim is the Bible says marriage is only between one man and one woman. My next claim is abortion is a grave moral evil. My next claim is empathy can be toxic and lead to sin. My final claim is progressivism and Christianity are at odds. Hi, I'm Allie Beth Stuckey. I'm the host of the podcast Relatable.
All right, enough of that. So there you go. I'm in there. I made it.
She drives me crazy.
Listen, this is not for this live, but we will be going live on Tuesday to talk about the video that drops on Sunday with me and Allie and other people. I have a lot of thoughts, and we'll get into it then. But it was cool to watch that on the air with everyone and with you for the first time. Very cool. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, we need to save that for another time. I have so many thoughts.
Rocket, I'm with you on this. We will address it on Tuesday live at 12 o'clock. We're going to change it up a little bit next week, so make sure you're there on YouTube. Okay. Back to the show. Sorry.
Okay. So obviously a government shutdown. We are currently still in the middle of it. Republicans and Democrats have not been able to come to an agreement. So basically, what is at the root of this government shutdown? And I will tell you, it's over the Affordable Care Act, or also known as Obamacare, those subsidies that make healthcare affordable for millions of Americans. So basically, what Republicans want to do is let them expire. They're supposed to expire at the end of this year. Democrats want those subsidies extended for the sake of Americans. And Republicans are like, nah, we're tired of paying taxes to go towards healthcare. So basically, if Republicans get what they want, which is what Democrats are fighting against, around 2 million people, 2 million Americans will become uninsured next year without these subsidies. And it goes up to 3.8 million over the next decade. But they say what they're more concerned about are millions more people that will probably just drop their healthcare coverage because they can't afford the higher premiums. Because they estimate that premiums could go up by like more than 100% in some cases. It kind of depends on where you live and how old you are. So like an average like 20-something-year-old that's earning $22,000 a year, so a lower income person, they would see their premium increase from $0 a month to $66. So it would go up $66, which doesn't sound like a lot, but $66 is a lot if you're only making $22,000 a year.
Yeah, it's huge.
But it gets way worse for if you are someone who's 60 years old and you make around $65,000, which is middle class. They would see an increase from $460 a month to $2,400 a month. And you're talking about older people who need their health insurance, especially because that's when you start to have more health issues in general. So that's where the That's basically where the disconnect is, right? That's where they can't agree. Mike Johnson is lying through his teeth about blaming Democrats for the shutdown. If you go to Fox News, anytime they reference it, they're calling it the Schumer shutdown.
Of course they are.
But so we have a few different videos of Mike Johnson basically repeating the same thing with the subsidies. I do want to also point out, just as an aside, I think that they don't want to come back from the shutdown, which they're going to have to eventually. But Thomas Massie has enough signatures now for his discharge petition to release the Epstein files, which means as soon as they come back from the shutdown, they're gonna have their hands gonna be forced to release those files. They have the numbers. So just keep that in the back of your head.
Just for the sake of time, all I will say is that it's telling that our country can fund genocide, it can fund ICE agents, it can fund an almost $1 trillion a year military, but we're fighting over giving Americans access. I'm not even going to call it affordable healthcare because I get my healthcare through the marketplace. It is such a shit show. I'll just say some version of some kind of healthcare that maybe works sometime and can still put you in debt. That's how backwards we are as a country. We're fighting over that. We're not fighting over a single payer system. We're fighting over the ability to put more Americans into more medical debt and maybe subsidize just their monthly premiums so they have something. Mm-hmm. I'll leave it there. I'm livid at these Christian nationalists. Okay.
Yeah.
First clip.
Yep.
How about this one? This is a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So they created a red herring. A red herring is a distraction. They decided that they would pick a fight on health care. Well, let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly. Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care. This is not talking points for us. We've done it.
Oh my
God. A big
God.
part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the working families tax cut, was to fix health care. Health care is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise. We need more access for more people, and we have lots of ideas to do that. But that issue is for debate in the next 3 months. It always was. We have members working on that.
Okay, I have to say 2 quick things. Number 1, he's not looking into the camera. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's lie number 1.
Yeah. Number 2, does anyone know? I mean, this is a real question. Does anyone, if you're a MAGA supporter listening or watching this is a good faith question to you. I'm going to lower my voice. I'm going to get real calm for you. Look, this is a real question, Mr. or Miss MAGA person. Do you know what the Republican plan is to fix healthcare in this country? Because Trump's talked about it for years. They keep talking about having a plan. Is anyone aware of their solution? Because it seems like Republicans will acknowledge that our healthcare system is broken. Okay, great. I'm glad that we agree on reality. But I can give you like AOC's plan. You can go to her website and find it. I can give you the general Democratic approach to this. Does anyone know what the MAGA fix is that's backed by data that will solve our healthcare problem? I will tell you that funding a big, beautiful bill that is closing down hospitals and that is kicking people off of healthcare is, I know Mike's a smart man, so I don't want to talk down to him, but Mike, that isn't going to fix the problem that you're claiming you're trying to solve. Like, it's just not. Premiums going up is not going to fix the problem that you're claiming to solve. So if any MAGA person out there listening has the solution, if there's a website I'm missing, please send it. info@thenewevangelicals.com, and we'll make sure we cover it because I need to know what the plan is.
Yeah, well, Karina in the comment brought up a good point that they were able to find money for a $200 million ballroom. Maybe they can tap those, whoever they found that money, you know.
Florida was able to build a concentration camp overnight that was like $400 million and costs like $100,000 per prisoner that they're keeping. So I guess they can find money when they want to.
Yeah.
It's nutso. Yeah. The upside down.
He also it's in a big plot twist. They lost Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I didn't believe it. I did not.
Is siding with Democrats on this.
Let's just play the clip. Jewish space lasers, anti-Semitic Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, I mean, I can't believe we're playing this in support, but here we are.
With regard to the subsidies, remember, that is 100% a red herring. It's a distraction. This is what Chuck Schumer and the Democrats put together to try to make the issue of the day.
He said the issue of the subsidies, you couldn't hear it, so he said the issue of the subsidies is a red herring. And it's something essentially that Chuck Schumer and Democrats are talking about right now.
Well, no, the issues of the subsidies are real. It's not something that anybody can say is made up. Also, people with regular or private plans, their premiums are looking to go up a median of 18%. That's brutal. I know a lot of small business owners, like a family of four, and they're paying $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month with deductibles of $7,000 to $10,000, and approximately 40% of these people don't even use their health insurance. So they're just burning money just in case they might have cancer, or just in case they have a terrible car accident. And then you've got single moms, many Americans that are really struggling that are on the ACA. If you double their health insurance or even triple it, these people are they're either going to have to drop it, or they're going to be choosing between rent and their health insurance.
Holy moly. Yes!
I mean, I agree with what she just said.
1,000. She's right. We've covered this on the show, so it's my go-to line. It is wild. And she's right. She's right. I can't believe it. I wonder if it's like a planned PR turn for her. I don't know, but I'll take it. I will take it.
Maybe she's just right. Now, maybe she's starting her deconstruction era,
Ooh, I love that for her.
I mean, she's also one of the few Republicans with Thomas Massie calling for the release of the full Epstein files.
I know.
So,
okay, MTG, I have so many bones to pick with you. So many, countless. I will give credit where credit's due. You're on the right side of these two issues. You really are. Now, I hope that you can get some actionables done within your party, because you're absolutely right. I mean, people are paying $2,000 a month. If I lose my subsidy, my healthcare will go from whatever I'm paying now to almost $1,000 a month. Just for me and my partner, because our kids are on the state plan, which is great for them, by the way. It's wonderful. And our deductible is $10,000. It's ridiculous. But don't worry, guys. Mike Johnson has a plan.
Yeah. To be fair, this is not an endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she has said and done some horrific things in the past, of things she's supported. So, but, a broken clock can get it right twice a day. And when they get it right, we need all the help we can get in this regime.
We are good faith actors, absolutely. Yeah. So this is a longer clip. I think it's really worth playing in its entirety. This is Mike Johnson on C-SPAN taking a call from someone who is not happy with Mike as a Republican. And let's hear his response. Let's hear her complaint and then his response.
Hi, Mr. Johnson. So my question or comments are related to what you said yesterday about not being open to pass any legislation to ensure that military gets paid. I'm sure you can tell by my voice I'm very shaky. Just want you to hear a little bit about my family. I have two medically fragile children. I have a husband who actively serves this country. He suffers from PTSD from his 2 tours in Afghanistan. If we see a lapse in pay come the 15th, my children do not get to get the medication that's needed for them to live their life, because we live paycheck to paycheck. I heard you earlier say that you side with President Trump on anything that he says. Well, I just read an article this morning that said he absolutely wholeheartedly believes that there needs to be legislation put in so that we do not miss a paycheck. You have the power to do that. And as a Republican, I'm very disappointed in my party, and I'm very disappointed in you, because you do have the power to call the House back. You did that, or you refused to do that just for a show. I am begging you to pass this legislation. My kids could die. We don't have the credit because of the medical bills that I have to pay regularly. You could stop this, and you could be the one that could say military is getting paid. And I think that it is awful, and the audacity of someone who makes 6 figures a year to do this to military families is insane.
All right, Samantha.
Samantha, I'm so sorry to hear about you.
Really quick, I mean, that is a powerful call. Can we just acknowledge that? And this is a very common scenario, right? Children who need extra medical care, husbands serve the country. Like they held up their end of the bargain for the quote-unquote American dream, right? They were patriots. Her husband put his life on the line for the country, and this is how they're repaid. Let's hear his response.
Situation. The reason I've been so angry this week, and they've been calling me out on media, Johnson's angry. I am angry because of situations just like yours. I have a big military district, and my district is the home of the Global Strike Command at Barksdale Air Force Base and Fort Polk, the Joint Readiness Training Center. I have one of the biggest military districts and military families in America. I have a lot of airmen and soldiers who are deployed right now, and they have young families at home, and they have children in health situations like yours. This is what keeps me up at night. I want you to hear something very clearly. The Republicans are the ones delivering for you. We had a vote to pay the troops. It was the continuing resolution 3 weeks ago. Every single Republican but 2 voted to keep the government open so that your paycheck can flow. Every Democrat in the House, except for 1, voted to close it. The Democrats are the ones that are preventing you from getting a check. If we did a vote on the floor, pay troops, it's not a lawmaking exercise because Chuck Schumer is going to hold that up in the Senate. He is demonstrating by voting now 6 times to keep the government closed that he does not want the troops to be paid. And you should listen to his comments last night as reported this morning. He is enjoying this. He said every day gets better for us, quote unquote. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are preventing your family from getting the care they need, not Republicans, and my heart goes out to you.
Wow.
What a little, I'm not
Imagine claiming to be a Bible-believing Christian and then just utterly BS flows
Can we
from
just
your
remind
mouth.
everyone, too, Republicans control the House.
Thank you.
And the Senate.
Yep.
And the executive branch and the Supreme Court.
They are totally in charge.
And they're still blaming Democrats.
This is the propaganda, right? No, there could be 2 Democrats left in this country, and they would still blame those 2 people for every problem with America. Like, it is always going to be this way. It doesn't matter how much power they get.
That lady was a Republican too, by the way.
Yes.
Which I do want to say, like, this shutdown, if there's a silver lining in all of this absolute chaos, is I have seen more and more people, and granted, it's still not a huge percentage, but it's a few a day, leaving MAGA.
Yep.
Because of how terrible this Trump administration is with all the tariffs. I mean, people were already recovering from the recession, from inflation, from the global pandemic that we all lived through. And now you have Trump that's adding tariffs, and he keeps acting like that's to benefit Americans. Americans pay those tariffs. Those price jumps directly affect the consumer. Like the coffee that I buy from Costco.
Yep.
Like last year I paid like $10, and now it's $19.
No, that's the Democrats' fault. Obviously, it's Joe Biden. Hey, look, dude, it's President Obama's fault from like 15 years ago. Okay, it's obviously his fault. We're still living in Obama's America, haven't you heard? Like, hello.
Like, yeah, it's so, but anyway, I do think hopefully more and more people will wake up. But honestly, I think a huge piece of why he's not rushing to get back in to open the House back up is because the Epstein files.
100%.
Because that is coming for all of them. And speaking of Epstein and child predators,
nice segue, April. Damn.
Mega church pastor Robert Morris this past week pleaded guilty to child sex abuse. And he was a spiritual advisor to Donald Trump in his first term.
Yep. Yes. Oh, yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yep. He was very close to Trump.
If you were around, if you followed us when we were still broadcasting on the New Evangelicals YouTube account, we covered this story in detail. So again, I'm not here to recap the whole thing. The TLDR, like April said, is that Robert Morris was the founder of one of the largest mega churches in America. I've been to his church
multiple times because I lived in Dallas.
It's Gateway, right? Is it Gateway Church?
Yep.
Yeah. And so he's a man who was on the spiritual advisory board for Donald Trump. And he's also a man that sexually abused a 12-year-old when he was in his 20s in the 80s and covered it up. And he talked about the situation of moral failure in a very obtuse way as a way of kind of coming across genuine. When in reality, it wasn't just like a moral failure, like, oh, I had an affair one day. You actually assaulted a child.
A 12-year-old.
A 12-year-old. That person fought like hell for justice. And now he's been arrested, and he'll probably get, looks like 6 months.
According to a plea agreement, it's a 10-year sentence, but he's only going to serve 6 months of jail time, and he'll be on probation the rest of the time. He must also register as a sex offender and pay $250,000 in restitution.
Wow. The millionaire, the multimillionaire.
Yeah,
it's like paying $1,000 fine. You know, it's like, is it going to hurt? Sure. Well, will you survive? Absolutely. 6 months for, I'm not going to use the R word because we're on YouTube, but 6 months for abusing a 12-year-old. And now think about this, friends. Christian Nationalism out here is like, Antifa is as organized and as deadly as ISIS. Meanwhile, Trump's own spiritual cabinet shows its true colors. Which I guess makes sense, because if you're a BFF with a pedophile and you're covering up the release of files that you're probably implicated in, it makes sense that you would pick another pedophile to be your spiritual advisor, right? Like why are we surprised? Now, white evangelicals won't give a shit about this. And if they do, they certainly won't think about Trump being next. In fact, I gotta tell you a story, April. I'm gonna do it. I'm fired up. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna say who, because I don't want to. It's just not appropriate. There's a larger Instagram person who does a lot of right-wing content as a Christian. She's one of these, I'm a true Bible-believing Christian. That's why I support, MAGA kind of thing. And she called out Robert Morris. I was like, hey, great, this is my in. Sent her a message, we talked before. It's like, hey, I totally agree with you that Robert Morris got a light sentence that should have been much harsher. We agree. Okay, common ground, we agree. Help me understand how you see this and then see Trump being found liable for sexually abusing a woman, and Trump bragging about grabbing women by the genitals, and not seeing how it's the same thing. And she essentially was like, well, the court case, we don't really know what happened. I think it's kind of biased. It was that kind of argument. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, it's right in front of you. It is right in front of you. We agree on Robert Morris, but we can't agree on a man who was found liable for sexually assaulting a woman. It's like, it's mind-blowing to me. It is mind-blowing, the gymnastics that we're a part of in this MAGA world. It's shocking.
No, Trump has become their idol. The MAGA movement is a golden calf. I think we missed the super chat from earlier.
Oh, let's do that, and then we'll get to our final segment. This one. It's from Joseph Compton. They say, yes. I wish Mike Johnson would sit his performative Christian ass down. They have zero, I repeat, zero answers. Absolutely. It is propaganda.
Is there another one? I think there's another one. Is there one from Kelly?
I don't think so. We read that one already.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I got them all here. We're good.
Okay.
Oh, friends, you hanging in there? If you're watching on Substack, we would love your feedback. This might be a new show for you, or a new approach to see two Christians who used to be Christian fundamentalists and Christian nationalists, now helping you dismantle the very thing that we helped build. That's kind of our angle on all of this. But honestly, please give Lincoln Square Media your feedback. We always want to make sure that we're making a compelling show every week. We also do we release episodes on podcasts as well and on YouTube, so you can check out our channel. And if you're looking for a community, if you're looking for a place to belong that's digital, I recommend joining TNE Connect. We have our own off of the algorithm space that is built for people to get access to free resources, regional group chats, meet people in your area. We have our own social media feed. You can go to the newevangelicals.com/connect to join. By the way, as a 501c3 nonprofit organization, everything we do is totally paywall free. So whenever I advertise the New Evangelicals, this is not my attempt to monetize you as a consumer. We don't do that. We rely on the generosity of people to donate as a nonprofit or to give super chats to make all of this work accessible. April and I have no paywalls, even to our personal content. Like on my Substack, Tim Whitaker Speaks, and April's Substack, we've chosen to keep all of our content paywall free because it's just not really our vibe. It's not our thing. It's no shade to creators who do have paywalls. It's just not our approach. So TNE Connect, it's its own app. It's also a website. You can join for free. We have tons of amazing resources, including tonight, I'll be hosting what's called Theology 101. We have a biblical scholar coming in to help you unpack terms like biblical inerrancy and fundamentalism. And that will be free tonight to watch with me and join in and ask questions, 7:30 on TNE Connect. So make sure you show up. Again, totally free. How'd I do, April? I kind of winged those, you know?
Great.
All right, good.
That was impressive.
I'm off the cuff
all
here,
right.
you know?
Shall we go to our final segment of
yes, we need to laugh.
Weird Christian shit.
I love that chime. Ding. Just finishes it. This is one of my hand-picked ones. April and I, we have like a little library of just weird clips from the Christian world. You know what? Let's just do no context. I'll just paint the picture for the podcast audience. It's a preacher wearing a teal shirt. He's a larger man, beard, in a sanctuary. It looks like it's a pretty small church, and that's all I'm going to give you. Let's hear what he has to say. 1.5-minute clip. Here we go.
For without are sorcerers. Sorcerers. Are you a sorcerer? You know that word there is all built around pharma? Pharma? The actual word there, I believe, is actually pharmakos. In Galatians 5 and verse 20, when it says witchcraft, it says pharmacia. Let me ask you something. Have you fallen into sorcery? What is the base of sorcery? Source. Who is your source? What is your source? PTSD, marijuana works, man. ADHD, marijuana works, man. Hey, dude, let me tell you something. A Band-Aid works, man, but it don't really work, man.
This guy's clipping hard.
It just covers it up. The healing don't come from the Band-Aid. The healing comes from the design of God. Put him in his proper place and put you in the proper place. If you ain't trusting him as your source, what excuse are you making? What excuse do you have? I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to find joy, peace, gentleness, goodness. You're trying to do all these things and call it faith. And then you'll smoke a little bit of pot and say, man, but it helps me calm down so that I won't knock your head off. All that is fake and false. It's a lie. It's counterfeit. It is a sorcery subject. It does nothing but drag you into the pits of hell.
Okay.
Band-Aids,
class?
strays.
Thoughts, class? Yeah, that's a weird one, man. That's a weird one. It's yeah, I mean, why wear a Band-Aid? You can just, I don't know, do you pray over it? Like,
that's sorcery. Why do you need I'm so confused. I mean, clearly he didn't get the COVID vax. There was such a huge anti-pharma thing during 2020. I mean, there were already anti-vaxxers and Christians in general, especially fundamentalists, a lot of evangelicals, especially Pentecostals who believe that God's the ultimate great physician, that are very anti-medicine and anti-science in that way.
Yep.
But I do feel like it's been an uptick lately, really since the pandemic, and then now with RFK, and then now you're just just saying well, this Greek word. So the Greek word,
it is pharmacia, but
it's
not
and
related
it does
to,
mean magic, sorcery, or witchcraft from that Greek word, but that's not the same thing as herbs and medicine.
Look, it's first off, I mean, it's the short answer is, right, April, it's the difference between a butt dial and a booty call. That's kind of like the little line people use. Words can sound similar, but they can mean very different things. So it's this idea of just conflating pharmacy, modern day medicine, pharmaceuticals. It's all bad. It's you're doing so many jumps by ripping something out of its context and putting it into a modern context, and then applying a right-wing MAGA anti-medicine view. It's just, there's so many things wrong with it. It's not worth debunking because it's so on its face silly. But my gosh, it's a doozy. I had to share it. I'm now I think the real plot twist would be if after this clip he's and that's why I'm fully vaxxed. It was so that would just be absolutely hilarious. So anyway, I don't know. I wanted to share that for a little bit of fun. We need time to laugh.
In ancient Greek, pharmakia, it's with a K, so I don't know if that's pronounced right. I don't know. Says it was used to refer to the practice of using herbs, potions, or spells for medicinal or magical purposes. And over time, the word evolved that talked about science and the art of preparing and dispensing medicines.
Okay. Well, Fair enough.
But still, not the whole like Band-Aid thing. Like, what are you gonna do if you get like a cut and you're bleeding? You're just supposed to bleed out because otherwise it's sorcery. Like, what is he talking about?
Look, my 3-year-old got his first real boo-boo. He touched a hot pan without knowing it and got a pretty decent, I'm going to say 2nd-degree burn. Like, it bubbled up, you know? And what I'm not going to do is be like, you'll be fine. No Band-Aid, no ointment, because pharmacia. Like, it leads to, could you imagine if you're that guy's kid and that happens to you and he really believes that? Like, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So anyway,
gosh, I know. I've heard fundamentalists accuse many things of being witchcraft, but this is the first that I've heard a Band-Aid.
Yeah, hey, first time for everything. So. Okay, we got a super chat from Nan V. Okay, buy a sandwich. Okay, will do. Thanks, Nan V. Appreciate that. And are you sure I missed one? I can see all the lists. You said Kelly?
Was there one from Kelly? I don't know.
This is the only one I have. It's about King's protest.
You're right.
Yeah, that's all I have. So cool. All right. Wow. Another packed show. Hey, hour and a half though. We cut the show down by a whole 10 minutes compared to last week.
Woo!
So that's progress.
I know. I need to start giving us more time on our rundown. I always get over ambitious. Like, we'll get through this quick. And then
I am kind of curious to hear from the audience. And again, you can put this in the comments either after this live gets posted or send us an email. Do you guys mind longer episodes like this? I mean, there's just so much to get to. We only do it once a week. April and I can talk forever because we're friends and we talk offline all the time. But we don't want to feel like we're just wasting your time, I guess, because we're on this side of the screen. So it is hard to know the perception of how it is out there. So let us know. You can leave us a comment. You can send us an email. That'd be great. Oh, we got a last minute super chat. Then we'll end. Laura, plant-powered pediatrician Shank says, as a pediatrician who takes care of newborns, the percentage of parents who are choosing not to even get the vitamin K injection is skyrocketing. Yeah, that will definitely. I have had Jessica Malati. Actually, we've had Jessica Malati and Rivera on the show several times to talk about health and vaccines. And again, you can go to our YouTube channel and find that episode. But we're with you. We're definitely trying to track the Make America Healthy Again movement as well, because it is related to Christian nationalism. So thanks for letting us know. So, all right, April, we did it. Another showdown.
We did it. Look at us. Join us live, subscribe, because nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Yep.
We need to pull that sound bite.
I forgot to pull it. All right, I'll have to pull it. And remember, we'll be live this Tuesday on YouTube only, talking about my time on Jubilee and watching some of the clips from their episode. I have no clue how it came out. I have no clue how they're going to edit it. We'll see. All right, friends, I'm Tim Whitaker.
And I'm April LaJoy.
See ya.
Bye.